Well, Tom, I want to thank you for taking time out to do the Art of Fearlessly Giving Back interview.
Well, thank you.
Tell everybody who you are and what you do here.
So my name is Tom Choi. I am the president of the Southwest Division of United Blood Services.
And so you could really work at any charity. You know, you're an accomplished person and you could work anywhere. Why here?
That's a good question. I never saw myself growing up working in a nonprofit environment, quite frankly. It was a fluke that I actually got involved in the industry. I've been in this industry now for 31 years. And it's an industry that combines a mission with a business. So I have a very entrepreneurial spirit, and so I love trying to figure out how we make everything work, because when you work in nonprofit organizations, you're almost completely at the whim of the public and whether or not they're going to buy into your mission, your organization. And so there's a lot of the business aspects that help you drive people's buy-in to your mission. And I like that. I enjoy it. They're very challenging times right now in our industry because there's no substitute for human blood. And because there are so few people that actually donate blood, it's a constant...
What's the percentage?
It's anywhere from 3 to 5% of any given
Wow.
population. And then after you take into consideration things like deferrals for people who donate, but then for whatever reason you can't use their blood, or somebody tries to donate and they're not feeling well, then, so for every person that tries to donate blood, there's some segment of that population that won't be able to for whatever reason.
Right.
And then when you talk about other removals, things that happen as you're processing those units or as you're distributing those units, you end up with an even smaller footprint of blood that we need to have in order to serve patients in hospitals.
Now, do you also do platelets?
Yes.
So that's part of it.
Yes.
My dad had a pheresis treatment twice where his platelets were completely replaced.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing thing. It literally sounds like a washing machine. It's taking your blood out of one arm, washing it,
Exactly.
and then putting someone else's blood into your... It saved my dad's life.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I find all of that fascinating. That's part of the reason why I work in this industry, and I couldn't imagine working in other industries and even nonprofit industries. I mean, we do a lot of work with nonprofits and other nonprofits, and even as important as their missions are, I'm still not drawn to that as much as I'm drawn to doing what we do. And it could be 30 years of experience talking, but no, it's a very noble profession, and because there's no substitute, there's no way for technology to solve the problems that we have in our industry. Sorry.
It's okay.
Shut that off.
I love it when it happens to somebody else. So your business model is actually very different than other business models too, because you don't really rely on donations to operate. Your business model is a little different than other nonprofits in a way, right?
So we don't rely on monetary donations.
Yeah.
We always welcome them, obviously, but
You're not going to say don't give me your money, but
it's we need your blood.
You're like a self-supporting.
Yeah.
So the blood is something that's kind of it ends up being somewhat of a product, right?
Yes.
And so that product is sold, and then you regenerate that money and to go back to getting more blood. So it's actually a self-funding kind of deal, right?
Exactly, and that's part of the reason.
It's fascinating.
It is fascinating, and there are a lot of people that don't understand the business model. We get a lot of questions from people okay, well, you get your blood donated for free. Well, why do you charge hospitals for the blood? And it's because there's a cost involved.
Yeah, we have to turn the lights on.
Everything we do, exactly.
Right.
It's
we have salaries
to process blood. The technology and the machinery that we have to use is extremely expensive. It's medical technology.
Right.
So a lot of people don't understand that aspect of the business, how much it costs to take a unit of blood that's donated by a volunteer donor and turn it into a usable product that can be used to save a life.
Which is, I'm fascinated. Congratulations to the model. I mean, as a business
awesome.
person and somebody who believes obviously in giving back, it's really a great model because you're not expecting people, you're not waiting for people to donate to save lives. You've actually taken the bull by the horns and found a way to solve that problem.
We have to.
Because there's no choice. If we haven't got blood, people die. When there's a car accident, I'm on the way down here, there was 3 accidents. You drive by a car accident in Arizona and potentially someone's dying.
Yeah,
and
you
if they
just
don't have
know.
blood,
That's exactly right.
they're literally going to die like right there on the spot.
Yeah, most people don't understand where blood comes from. I didn't. Before I got involved in this industry, I had no idea where blood came from. I just assumed hospitals had blood. And, you know, it doesn't work that way. Somebody has to work at bringing that blood, providing that blood, and that's us.
Well, that's amazing. You're the reason why I'm up painting at 3 o'clock in the morning. People think I'm crazy. Why are you doing it? It's because I really believe that the stuff that you guys are doing and the other charities in this particular project is really valuable, and it's people should know more about it. Absolutely.
Totally agree.
Now, you talked a little bit about your core values and what we've just spoken about, but tell us a little bit more about your core values as an organization.
So the organization's core values, there's 4 of them: respect, integrity, teamwork, and excellence. So we strive every day to operate that way, in that manner, whether it's, you know, from treating each other as in co-workers that way, or and when we're dealing with the general public. We deal with just about every organization in any given community, because because it isn't for these organizations supporting us, whether they be businesses or they be schools or they be churches. There's not a segment of any part of the community that we're not in some way, and we need to be, because it's a numbers game.
Right.
You know, you've got at any given point in time, you've got anywhere from 10 to 20% of the population using blood, and you've only got 3 to 5% of the population donating blood.
So this kind of leads us, you know, perfectly into a couple of the next questions. But I'm going to actually skip 3 and go to 4 right away because it fits so well. So the benefit of partnering with a company like WebPT that is constantly doing blood drives, I mean, you couldn't do business and do charitable work if it wasn't for companies like WebPT and for people in the community. So the benefits of it's not even a benefit; it's a prerequisite for you guys, right?
Yes, it is, and you know, we rely very heavily on partners like WebPT to support us. You know, it's organizations that do blood drives, that allow us on their campuses, that allow us to interact with their employees and their leadership. That's what makes the difference. If we're not able to do those things, there's no way we could actually complete our mission.
It's fantastic. It really is. So the core value that we're focusing on for WebPT in this particular series is the personality be minty. And you've said an awful lot about that already, but how do you see your values and WebPT's value about, you know, being minty with your members? I mean, you have to have a good relationship with the people that are giving you space, and it really in every direction. So tell me a little bit about how you see your values and WebPT's value in this case resonating with each other.
So, you know, I mean, we all believe in the concept, and probably in most nonprofit organizations, you believe in this even more strongly than the average person does. It's giving back. I mean, it's understanding that mutually beneficial relationship that you have to have when you're talking about something that's as important as providing life-saving blood. So organizations and our willingness and ability to treat them with respect for what they're doing for us is crucial to our success, because if we're not treating other organizations and other entities that are supporting us in a minty way, then quite frankly we're not going to get their support. And you know, again, talking about the numbers game, it's a constant trying to stay ahead of the avalanche that's coming down at you when you're in our industry. You know, it's one of those, sometimes it can be a gut-churning thrill ride, quite frankly. There's a lot of stress involved in doing what we do, because ultimately, if we aren't doing our jobs, if we're not successful, and we're only successful through other partnerships, then people in hospitals are not going to get the blood they need. And you're absolutely right. We talked earlier about the fact that people could die. There is no substitute for human blood. You know, everybody wants to believe that medical technology, the way it is, we're in the 21st century, that somebody's going to find a replacement for human blood, and it hasn't happened, and the odds are it probably won't happen.
It's too complex. I mean,
it's extremely complex. Human blood is very complex.
And you know, I don't know whether you believe in God or not. Some people do, some people don't. But God created people.
Absolutely.
For some people believe that anyway.
Yeah.
But something bigger than us, like whether it's God,
whatever
he, she, or it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It's some benevolent divine something or other, or even the Big Bang Theory. I mean, like it's. I'm always marvel at the human body and how intricate and crazy it is, and how
It's
it's fascinating.
It is.
I mean, the shoulder joint alone is like, wow, who thought that up? You know,
It's incredible.
So I mean, it would be nice if technology caught up and was able to replace human blood.
It would be nice. And I know there's a lot of trials out there. There's a lot of organizations, a lot of research companies that are looking into something like that. But I've heard that for 30 years.
Right.
And there hasn't been one yet. So
we can cross our fingers, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know, all for it, right?
Right. From a human perspective, I would love for them to find some kind of a substitute for human blood. But until they do, you know, the public and patients and we ourselves, who the odds are will one day become blood users, have to rely on organizations like United Blood Services to do those things that nobody else is able to do.
So the last question I have, I ask every leader that I interview, and I've interviewed, you know, over 50 at this point, and I've asked the same question. And, you know, what you do, I mean, as a leader and also concerning the subject matter, there's fear involved in this, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So what can you tell other people that are watching this video about how you personally learned how to be fearless?
You know, the mission drives a lot of, you know, being fearless. You have to be fearless in order to do what we do because of the constant threat that a patient somewhere is not going to get the blood product that you know you're responsible for providing. As far as fear from a human emotion is concerned, most people are afraid of donating blood because of the needle that's involved.
Right.
And it's surprisingly painless. And most people that you talk to in their, you know, after their experience is over with, because there's men in particular, it's a gender thing, they're scared to death. But then when they actually go through the process and they find out that it is, I mean, it really, in a lot of ways, it is painless. But even if there is a little bit of pain involved in this initial, you know, maybe the needle pinch, but the feeling that people have afterwards, it's always fascinating me when you talk to people after they've donated blood, whether they're the first time donor, they've never done it before, or they're the person who's working on their 20th gallon. The feelings they're almost identical. This feeling of, I did something special. You know, I saved a life. I mean, and that can be cliche, especially in the world now. You know, saving a life. Yeah, I'm donating blood. Am I really saving a life?
Yeah.
Absolutely, you are. Absolutely, you are. And most people don't make that connection, emotional connection. They may hear it. I'm saving a life, and in just general terms, yeah, donating blood because it's transfusing to patients. Yeah, I've got the potential to do that. But you don't really make that emotional connection until you actually go through the experience.
So that sounds to me like it's probably how you're managing fear too, because you're able to kind of see yourself, here's on the other side of whatever this difficult experience is.
Yes.
Here's the benefit. So I'm going to get over myself because the benefit is so much bigger than my little thing that I'm going through right now.
That's exactly right. I think in a leadership role, your biggest fear is not being successful in your mission. It's the kind of stuff that keeps you awake at night. It's the kind of stuff that'll make you sit up in the middle of the night. Thinking about all the things you've got to deal with, and how am I going to make sure that we're going to have that blood available to those patients that need it? That's the biggest fear that most leaders have in our industry. And you just come in every day and you do the best job you can, and you work with your people. You treat them with the right values, and quite frankly, the work takes care of itself. We're fighting an uphill battle, and we do it every day. And I am amazed at times how successful we are at it. There are occasions when we need help. You have a critical shortage. A lot of times that's because something happened. There's a run on, blood, which means that patients are using a lot of blood. But at the end of the day, I find myself anyway at the end of every shift. For someone at my level, there is no such thing as a shift. You're 24/7 in this job, 365. But it feels good when the day is over and you've achieved all the goals that you wanted to achieve. We monitor our production goals. It's a business, and that's one side of the business. That's one aspect of what we do that most people don't truly understand. This is a business.
Right.
Like you said, we got to keep the lights on.
You're a conscious business.
Exactly. We're a very socially conscious business.
Right.
It's driven by the human desire to help people.
The first charity or organization that we featured in this series is called Conscious Capitalism, and their tagline is elevating humanity through business. And I am a firm believer.
That's cool.
This project is an example of that.
Yeah.
and talking with all the business owners that I've interviewed and the charities that I work with, it's a super important thing. So this has been a really beneficial interview for me to hear. I really want to thank you for your service.
Well, thanks.
And
It's an honor really to be involved in this thing.
And
It's
you know,
really
there's
cool
two
what you do.
parts to this. Like, you know, we're having an auction, and I could potentially write you. I'm hoping to write you guys a really big check. Maybe you could hire somebody to do fill in the blank, whatever you need, or you can. I don't know what you need, but I'm hopefully going to write you a really big check. But what's more important for me with your piece of the puzzle is, and actually with all the pieces, is that there's an awareness of what you do and how
Yes.
important it is, and that, you know, maybe we influence more people to get that 3 to 5% number a little, chug up a little bit.
Exactly.
You know, just to get a couple more people to go out there and donate blood. That's really what the goal of the project is. That's why it's a social practice project, because it's not just about generating revenue and donations. It's really about generating awareness.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. You're absolutely
Because
right.
people don't even know this story. They take it for
don't.
granted until they have a daughter or a sister or mother or a
That's
cousin
exactly right.
in a hospital bed that needs blood,
That's
until they're
exactly
like
right.
me sitting in front of my father watching his blood being scrubbed.
Right.
And you realize that, you know, somebody is saving my father's life right now. It's that important.
It is, and you're right. It's typically some kind of personal connection that usually gets people involved in either donating blood or even becoming a part of the industry. I had a family friend get me into this industry. Otherwise, I don't know that I would have ever gotten involved in this industry.
That's incredible.
So it's a personal connection.
Well, I look forward to seeing a representative from your organization on May
Absolutely.
18th, because I know that you're going to be away. But thank you so much for your time, and thank you for, you know, helping to spread the word about this project. And I look forward to meeting whoever is going to come, probably Brad or whoever it's going to be, on May 18th at the Arizona Science Center between 6 and 9 p.m.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks.